आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
Yes, Smita, I can hear you.
So if I read directly from my screen, which is easier for me, does that cause a lot of reflection of the eye and the glasses and the
Okay.
choice? Yes. Easier to read on the screen. तो नीचे देख के पढ़ना अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है.
Let's focus on the light.
Okay.
Sure. Please go ahead, Smita ji.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me? Yeah, good morning, good evening, and good day wherever you are. Welcome everybody to the Wheels webinar. Welcome to those in India and everywhere else in the world. We have speakers. We're very excited to have speakers with us who are from various parts. So very exciting to have you all with us. So I am Smita Siddhanti. I am on the Wheels board. Wheels is we'll introduce Wheels as an organization. You probably were watching in the beginning all our slides about who we are. So I am the president of a company called EnDyna Inc. I'm here in Washington, DC. It's an environmental consulting firm that specializes in environmental and management consulting for federal government agencies. Been in this field for the last 30 years and very passionate about working in rural entrepreneurship along with entrepreneurship in general. I have been on the board of TIE, the Indus Entrepreneurs, on the global board of TIE. and very engaged with women entrepreneurship globally, along with my interest in rural entrepreneurship that I've been engaged with Wheels and with Magan Sangrahalaya Samiiti in Wardha for the last 30 years. So that's my introduction. And my co-host is Pradeep Ambassador Kapur, and we're going to be introduce him later. So bios of all the people will be shown right here. So Ambassador Kapur, we were just showing his screen, but before that, I just want to tell you about Wheels. Wheels is an initiative of Pan IIT. As you know, it was started in 2006 and incorporated as a 501c3 here in USA, and also a Series 8 company in India. So Wheels' mission is to improve the lives in rural India by technology-based solutions. Our whole motto is to take the proven technology implementation that has shown results in various in the 5-6 sectors that we actually focus on, which is water, healthcare, energy, education, livelihood, and sustainability. And we take the innovative technology-driven solutions that have been proven for and in the rural setting, and then take that to scale. That is the model that we are focusing on. And Wheel Foundation is a pioneer in applying this technology to provide solutions to global challenges. We have partnered with various NGOs on the ground. That is the model with which we implement. And those are like Mission Samriddhi, Magan Sangrahalaya, even IEEE and SOBUS and others that we're going to be talking about today with. And the technology solutions we not only get from various IIT, rural technology centers, or even all the technology institutes around globally that we can connect with. And so ideas come to us in various form, and we take projects and then implement it. For example, we are doing telemedicine centers in 350 centers around in rural India. And similarly, we're doing newborn and mother nutritional health, Safe Farmers Initiative, sanitary pads for rural girls, spoken tutorials, and digital literacy, along with many other projects in water management and others that we've been working in various areas. This is an introduction briefly that you saw, and you'll see it at the end again, some of our slides. So we are a volunteer organization, and we are working on generosity of people's contributions. And we are hoping that all the, not only the Pan IIT, but all the people who are on this participating with us and listening to us and others who are interested, please either contribute or bring us ideas or volunteer with us. And this is sort of a call for our mission, and join us in our mission. And these examples that we're showing here today in this webinar, along with the webinars we have done, is to elaborate on the work we do and bring you along with us. So hopefully this will be an enlightening one for you. You can get directly about how to contribute to us through our website. It's the www.wheelsglobal.org. I want to also mention to you that in November, we are doing a large conference in a very substantial effort has been done in this conference in BHU IIT in Varanasi. And the title of that is Rural Transformation for Sustainable Growth. And this is in collaboration with Ideal Village Center in Stanford, as well as the whole Pan IIT alumni. And so we are very excited to invite you all to join with us in Varanasi. And it's in November 11th to 13th in Varanasi. The registration is available in the website is https and then idealvillageconference.com. So please check us out on that and join us. So with that, I wanted to also couple disclaimers before we go in there. We go into this topic. Please, everybody, please mute themselves. And everything that's being said here is Wheels is not responsible for it. It is the responsibility of those who are the speakers and partners with us. So let me introduce you. So the format is Ambassador Kapur is going to introduce each of the speakers, and then we are going to have a small Q&A at the end of each speaker if we have time, but hopefully we'll have a more substantial discussion at the end of the three speakers. So let me introduce, and really my honor to introduce you to Ambassador Kapur, who has also been part of my the journey on sustainable livelihood. And this is a track within Wheels. So wanted to also let you know before that Wheels has a number of tracks, which is a healthcare track and an energy track and a livelihood track. So with our focus on different areas, we have different tracks that we are working on. And Ambassador Kapur and I co-chair the Sustainable Livelihood track. So Ambassador Kapur is an acknowledged luminary diplomat with his distinguished career working with leaders and policymakers around the world. He's also with us on the Wheels board. He's author and editor of many books. He was the ambassador of India to Chile and to Cambodia, and secretary at the Indian Ministry of External Affairs. He is the executive director of the Smart Village Development Fund. He received a Bachelor of Technology in Electrical Engineering in 1977 from IIT Delhi. In 1979, he received a Master's of Technology in Management and Systems from IIT Delhi. As a career Indian Foreign Service officer from 1979 to 2013, he has held many government jobs, both in India and abroad. So he was, as I said, was the Indian ambassador to Cambodia, and then Secretary of Foreign Service Institute in New Delhi, and was an Indian ambassador to Chile then. So my real pleasure and honor, Ambassador Kapur, take it from here. You're on mute, sir.
Thank you very much, Smita, for the introduction to the theme, introduction to the conference, and giving my introduction also. I appreciate that. It's absolutely wonderful to be here with all of you. Welcome to everybody to this webinar from different parts of the globe. So namaste, good morning, good evening, good night, good afternoon, wherever you are. And thank you, Smita, for mentioning about the November conference. It is basically a conference where we are trying to see how we can convert that into a movement. And the title of the conference is Rural Transformation for Sustainable Economic Growth, Sustainable Development and Economic Growth all over the world. How do you do that with rural transformation? So these are, the dates are November 11, 12, 13. We hope all of you register for that. Those who cannot come there can join online, but do participate and contribute to the maximum extent possible. It's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it's not difficult to get away from your office work for a short while and do a lot of worthwhile and important and useful work for the world. Thank you so much for being here with us. Dr. Vibha Gupta. She is the chairperson of Magan Sangrahalaya Samiiti. Also, the founder and director of the Center of Science for Villages. And she works out of, guess where? Wardha, Maharashtra, the abode of Mahatma Gandhi for a long part of his life. Vibha has dedicated her entire life to bringing science and technological innovations for enhancing rural entrepreneurship, rural employment, and ideal village conditions. So what better a person to discuss with us and talk with us and, tell us about her own experiences in this field of creating sustainable livelihoods. She qualified as an economist from Delhi University with a master's in social work. She took up postgraduate degrees in social science from Canada and Netherlands, and also earned a PhD in transfer of technology amongst rural women from IIT Delhi, which is my alma mater also. So very proud moment for me also. For the past 30 years, she has been working on developing and promoting appropriate technologies to generate rural employment. And through her work, she has successfully mobilized 10,000 rural women, formed 1,005 self-help groups in 125 villages. With this vast, impactful work in rural development, and her other efforts and accomplishments also there in watershed development, natural farming, sustainable economic ventures, rural housing, Rashtriya Karigar Panchayat, rural health insurance, anemia-free Vidarbha, nutrition garden, and the first organic cotton to organic khadi fabric unit. What better credentials than that? Such a great pleasure to welcome you here. Vibha, over to you.
You're on mute, Vibha.
Thank you so much, Pradeep and Smita. I'm really honored to be part of your team, and I really think that in time to come, to be able to create a model that we all can take, not only to India, but all poor countries in the world and all the poor people in the world, and especially the artisans who have the skill and technology with them, but are hidden behind this whole wave of machine mechanization and capitalization. So I would request that my presentation is shown here so that we can go ahead.
Vibha, you can share directly.
So
So while we're waiting for Vibha to show the slides, oh, there you are. Okay.
the whole concept of Wheel Foundation, Wheel Global Foundation to bring in Magan Sangrahalaya Samiiti and Center of Science for Village as partners was basically to bring out technologies that can create a sustainable livelihood to the rural poor, and also create technologies which are basically eco-friendly and are able to remove the gap between the scientific lab and the mud hut. So as there's no point of me going through what we have done, because already Ambassador Pradeep has already told about this, but in the process we could establish self-help groups and link them with 18 banks. With presently the financial transaction is about 20 crores, which is a big amount for these people who earn very little money. Second was to set up rural enterprises to make them understand the whole concept of technology, tools, and marketing. So at present, we are able to directly and indirectly provide livelihood to 100 rural people. And at present, these enterprises, you can see the pictures of all these women doing different kinds of work. And the major thing was that, can the technology really create a better living condition? So even a good toilet, potable water, and money in their pockets, that was important. So we try to see that whatever is available in the village is processed there and sold there, that they don't go to the bigger markets, but they have the market within themselves. And that is the kind of projection that we have for the Wheel project that we are going to implement in Auroville, Gujarat. And Similarly, the Magan Sangrahalaya Samiti is linked with farmers of 100 villages, around 2 to 5,000 farmers who were associated in organic farming. You can see these pictures of farmers doing different kinds of processing and tools and coming together as federation and marketing group. The thing here that it is very important that we reach out to every single farmer, because there's this thing called mindset that the farmers at present have a particular kind of mindset which is oriented to chemical farming and mechanization. We have to wean them out of it and see that whatever they do lasts long, because we can't kill the soil, we can't kill the environment, we can't kill the weeds if we want to have a sustainable farming system. So some of the technologies I'll just dwell a little more is that we are at the center creating mud houses. We are producing, training, and building many mud houses. We have built 3,000 mud houses for BPL families and 3,000 more houses for the military, as military barracks, community halls, training centers. So these are the elements, basically the terracotta elements, which give work to the borders. You can see these houses. My father used to say Magan, and I think that word was coined by Smita. And so this is the inside. You can see the eco villages that we made in Gujarat, in Maharashtra, after the earthquakes in these places. And these are they look Makkah and they have a very long life, but they are all 80% of the material is basically mud and dust. And money goes to the rural people who build it. And
Vibha, slides are not changing. Maybe.
Oh,
yes.
From here, they're changing.
Okay.
I can change. And what should we do then?
Maybe just go to the slide number 3 or 4 and then see if it is changing.
See? No, on my screen, I can see them changing.
Okay, let's keep going.
No, if you can't see the slide, then my presentation really is not.
Maybe you can stop and then share it again. Your screen, just stop sharing and share the screen again. Yes, now it is changing.
You see them?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay. So did you see the mud houses that I was talking about?
Yes.
So these are the mud houses that we built for the BPL families. And the best thing that we did was to give the ownership of the house to the women of the family. Till now, the ownership belongs to the men of the family. So this was a big policy dent that we could make. So these are the basic elements that we use porous terracotta elements in making the house with mud. And so these are the kind of houses inside the building that you can see. These are the eco villages that we made after the earthquakes in Maharashtra and Gujarat. So where we provided them with solar energy, with efficient toilets. And the range goes from seed banks to community halls to. And CSC has worked a lot on making the manure with toilets. Like the night soil can be used as manure. So this is another thing that we have put is the rural sanitation park, where we showcase all different kinds of technologies that people or village can adopt as far as sanitation is concerned. And biogas plant is another area that CSV has worked. You can see the electricity being generated by biogas plant using very simple devices. And also on this wood waste or the leaves that go waste in the forest that we can use it. I'm showing these technologies to showcase the technologies that we see in the tribal belts of India. And water filter without electricity is the most efficient water filter that we use to get rid of fluoride problems in many villages. And this is another way of doing irrigation system without electricity called emitter irrigation. It's a very efficient way of irrigation where there's land cooling for that keep the vegetable fresh for 3 days, milk for 2 days. And
Vibhaji, sorry to interrupt again. Somehow the slides are not changing. I'm wondering if I can share my screen and I'll just follow your cue.
yeah.
Yeah, let me do that.
Yeah.
Please let us know which slide you are on.
Yeah, which one you saw is what matters. This was the last slide that you could see.
No, I think we should just scroll down from wherever you are quickly without talking about it. Just have the pictures to show.
We go further down. Yeah, see
I
that.
think we can just keep, just keep
Yes.
moving.
Yes. We'll go further. Yeah. Next, please. Next, please. Next, please. Yeah. Next. 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 So we're coming down to this project that we are going to work together. We, IEEE, Magan Sangrahalaya, Mission Samriddhi, Shamlaji, and Prajan. We are the major partners, but there will be many following. And this program is going to be implemented in the tribal belt of Auroville Hills, where major populations are. Is tribal. Next. 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 So you can see that there are 7. The target villages, there are 7 villages of Bhilora block, Auroville district. The population is 21,000. So it's very sparsely populated area with majority being tribal. Next. So this are the basic facts about the village, that the forest cover is 33%, which is very good in India. Population, tribal population is 60%. And so here it goes that we are basically going to direct all our things because household below poverty line are 47%. So we have chosen 4-5 technologies. As we say that turning technologies into trade is our mission. Next. So we can leave that. Next. 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 Yeah. So you can see that there are 4 major interventions. One is that these tribals are basically working on honeybees and honey and wax production, which is very crude and rudimentary, and lots of bees die in the process. So that's one section. The next is turmeric unit. 30% of the turmeric goes waste in this area. Digvijay unit, they are not doing any processing. They're selling it raw, so it doesn't fetch them any money. Neem is available in a big quantity in that area, absolutely unused. And agarbatti unit is because this is a temple zone where there's a lot of temples and 10 lakh people come every year to visit these temples. So agarbatti can be one unit which can provide livelihood to them. Next. 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 So I just want to dwell on this technology, which is the wild bee honey and wax enterprise, which is going to give livelihood to 10 women and 10 tribals. So we'll go through these slides slightly slowly. So the first slide that comes is that because 33% is a forest cover, so they are into honey production, but the process is very crude, as I said. Next. This forest area can give employment to women if they have box honey. Next slide is you can see the way they extract honey, which is, as I said, is very violent and crude, and most of the honeybees die in this process. And this bee is called Apis dorsata, which is forest bee. Next. You can see this. These are how they lay their hives. Next. And next to a water body. Next. Next. So the technology is basically to give them protected gear, make them cut out only the area in which honey is there, not and leave the rest of. Please, next. Next slide here. Before that, one slide. Yes. You can see this tribal going up to the tree and cutting only the part where honey is. So this way you save the honeybees from dying, because there's a huge depletion in honey population, and which is a threat to the forest. So here the whole process is to cut it, and they can reharvest it 3 times from the same hive. Next. And this is how it looks, and that's going to be rebuilt by the honeybees. Next. Yes, so they can get at least 2 to 4 to 10 times more money than they are getting now. And this technology itself will save these travels as well as the bees. And next, so the same is wax that we're going to produce and sell, and we're going to make wax products after that. Next. So these are the basic tools that they're going to use. Next. And we are going to use solar power for honey extraction process. It's a very simple process. Next. This is a very, very interesting device that we have developed to get the best quality honey from the wild bees. This will be done on solar energy. Also, these are the products. Next. Next. Yeah. Next. So these are the products that will be made. Next is what I talked about is that this area next grows the best quality turmeric and ginger, and it's all organic, but 30% of it is wasted in the traditional process. And small farmers, most of the farmers produce turmeric. So we are going to introduce a technology which will save this wastage. We are going to introduce technology which will process it into value-added products, so that they can get at least 50 to 100 times more money than they are getting now. Next, not time, percent. So these are the fields. Next, next, next. Yeah, this is the way that they do now, and we are going to introduce this technology, which you see now, the cooker. Yes. So it's an energy saving device, plus you save all that used to go to waste. And this will not only create a good quality turmeric, but also will reduce the waste, which is a very precious commodity in that area. Next. This is kind of a solar device that we're going to use to dry turmeric and the other things like ginger, to make the ginger products and ginger powder. Next. 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 So these are the ginger raw material which is available abundantly in that area and sold at a very soaring price. And this has to be converted into value-added products. Otherwise, we are losing a big agriculture produce. Next. And there's a huge market for all these products that you're seeing here. I'm just showcasing some machines which are available in the market. We have to just rescale them or modify them to our use. Next, 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 next. Every time you see a different kind of solar device next that we are going to put. One thing about every tribal area is lack of transportation facilities. Most of the enterprises lose their ground because there's no transportation available. So the produce stays there and fetches very little market, because the local market people cannot pay for any produce. So for us, it's very important to transport it, to have a transportation system that basically makes the ground for sustainability in these areas. Next. And as I said, neem is one tree that grows all over India, but we are not able to harvest it economically. And this will really create a huge amount of livelihood to people who can collect the kernel, who can dry them, crush them, and make different kinds of products from oil, fertilizer, and pesticides and everything. And so this technology is very simple. But the only thing that the management is that we have to have a system to manage collection of stuff. Next. You can skip 3-4 slides because it just shows the kind of devices that are available, and the products that we're going to make. And yes, next. Thank you. Next. And as I told you that agarbatti is going to be, yes, Shamlaji has this temple, and next slide that we see is, yes, that Shamlaji is a temple town, is a part of Devasthan Development Project of Government of India. So 10 lakh pilgrims visit Shamlaji Mandir. People from 4 states come, and all that makes us understand that there's a huge demand for things related to the temple, especially these kinds of dhupbatti and agarbatti. But sadly, they don't produce anything there. They have been importing it from other states and other places. So it will be an indigenous industry right there, selling it there and I think this is going to be sustainable because it has a ready market. Next. I'm just showing you that there are different kinds of machines that India has developed, which are bringing up very good quality products. Because handmade products and machine-made products have their own, the look-wise, they are much more attractive. And every unit is going to have some kind of a solar system or a biogas system to run the machine. Yes. So we tell that we call it Amazing Auroville as a brand, and logo of all our partners will be there. And Shamlaji Temple will provide space for shop, and hotels in Shamlaji will provide display space, marketing support by the travel department, and shop at Ahmedabad for the travel projects are going to be of great support to us, because all this thing is done. Like the team there in Auroville is just ready for takeoff. Next. So I just have to say that things on the ground are looking up for us to take the project, get the project rolling. That's more important. Next. And this is one major area of intervention is the digital literacy. The Shamlaji College is going to provide the space and infrastructure. Wheels Global and IEEE are getting into making the course material and getting the right kind of technical help to get this going, because this is the first time that there's going to be this digital literacy among the tribals and the students and the people who are associated with the project. This will basically make a lot of difference as far as our documentation is concerned, our interconnections are concerned, our marketing strategies are concerned, and also the way that we can disseminate what we are creating to a wider number of takers. So the program is basically to set up 7 computer kiosks in 7 Gram Panchayats, which are also important because the Gram Panchayats will be strengthened by the information that they'll be floating in and floating out of the system, and empowering the rural people. Next is
Vibha, we have to wrap up in 30 seconds.
2 slides left. So apart from that, the Wheels have decided to have classroom children, 5th standard children in the digital literacy program. And the last is that which is creating a fertilizer factory in the village by putting up the vermicompost system, and CSU has developed technologies to make it more efficient. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vibha, for this very brilliant, expose. We are running short of time, so I'm going to skip my question for the time being, but we'll come back to that later. We'll be asking you about, the scalability aspects. What works, what doesn't work, what is more generic, what is not generic, what can work across cross-cutting through, different sectors, different communities, different areas. But now it is my proud privilege to, and we also want to thank IEEE, and you have mentioned about IEEE for being very generous and funding this project, which is going to impact a large number of lives. So thank you very much, IEEE, Integrated Smart Village, part of the IEEE. Next, we have Digvijay Choudhary. He is also an alumni of IIT Bombay Electrical Engineering, went on to study in the US. But then I'm not going to speak in very great detail because it's there on the screen. He sort of gave up everything in the US to move back to India, and guess where? To the Art of Living Foundation in Bangalore. He's been with them for a decade and a half or more, and he works as the chief administrator for the foundation and has set up and streamlined the operations of the campus, which is 350 acres, by creating very simple, adaptable, and scalable systems for a volunteer and non-profit organization. He's also building up his SOBUS Insight Forum. So that is the other thing which he is engaged in. He will talk more about those aspects. Over to you, Digvijay, and welcome. You have 10 minutes because we are running short of time. So please try to stick to those time limits.
Okay.
Thank you.
Namaste. Good to be here. And I'm just sharing my screen. Please confirm that you're able to see my presentation. Is it there now?
No, it is not yet. I can't see it. I don't know if anybody else can.
No, not yet. Try one more time. Otherwise, I can share my screen.
I'm just waiting for that. Is it there?
Yes, now it's there.
Great. So I'm going to talk about the rural innovation for sustainable livelihoods model that wheels along with SOBUS and a multitude of partners is driving in Pandharpur, Maharashtra. And some of the questions that Ambassador Pradeep ji asked are the ones that exactly came to our mind as we were setting up this project. I will not delve deep into it, but we know that Bharat, as we call it, which is if you leave the top metros and large towns, has a number of challenging situations. And if you really need look at how to solve this at scale, there are a few challenges that we need to overcome. And those are related to the infrastructure, the physical infrastructure, as well as the knowledge infrastructure available, the financial capital available, by which local value creation can happen. Because right now, we see that a lot of the raw material comes from the rural areas, but the value creation happens in the urban areas. And that's where the prosperity increases. And we see the rural-urban migration. The other part is there are, like the work being done by MSS, wonderful models which already exist, which are successful on the ground. But often the challenge is how to repeat this and replicate this across various regions. Often what happens is social sector organizations or on-ground grassroots organizations end up recreating a solution. And often the model itself is not very scalable or replicable. And all the challenges have led to a mindset also, which is quite, I would say, depressed, which leads to lack of confidence and inability to solve problems locally. It's also as much of the challenge of the mindset as the physical infrastructure. So in any solution framework that we implement for these areas needs to have certain characteristics. So this is like a checklist to make sure we don't create bespoke solutions which cannot scale. So one is looking at ideas that can actually scale, starting with those. Often what happens is we get an idea to work and then try to scale it up. If you reverse that, actually look at scale as a critical component. Many of these need technology. It will be unwise not to use the power of technology to scale, but it can't be the centerpiece. And entrepreneurship, just giving dole will not work for a country of India's size. We have to move to where we teach people to fish, enable them to fish rather than giving away fish, as they say. And anything that is done needs a co-creation model to sustain. Otherwise, it will be an intervention, but it will not last long. Single entity cannot do it. We'll be arrogant to think that we can go and just change things by ourselves. We need to collaborate with like-minded and partners with complementary skills and resources. And finally, most important, we need to have a win-win for all the stakeholders involved. And so designing such a framework, we have created something called the SOBUS Center of Excellence. The idea is to create prosperity in Bharat through rural innovation and entrepreneurship. Idea being to have the infrastructure, the knowledge capital, the support, the mentoring, expertise, market connects, funding, basically a 360-degree ecosystem to create job creators. And of course, to enhance the skill, not everyone can be an entrepreneur, but at least to get an employable set of skills, which results in sustainable rural livelihoods. And the model here is a very interesting model, and that is what I'll talk most about today, is a public-private partnership where we have tied up with an educational institution in a rural area, which has both the intent and competence to deliver projects on the ground. So as an organization, often reaching the grassroots is a challenge, but we have partnered with Sweri College and created a very well-rounded holistic model where each set of partners contributes their strength. And the three main partners in this project at Pandharpur are the college itself, which is providing the innovation infrastructure, the human capital, thousands of students. The culture and mindset is there because they've already been working on dissemination of Bhabha Atomic Research Center's technologies on the ground, and they're well connected to the local society. SOBUS has initiated this project to build the ecosystem there. So has come up with a vision and to aggregate all the key ecosystem players. And Wheels Foundation has come together as a knowledge partner to tap the global network of IITians and purpose-driven individuals, and also as a seed funding partner. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Apart from these three main partners, we have got now, out of about 400 applicants, institutions all over the country, 8 were selected, and our center in Pandharpur has been selected for the Atal Community Innovation Center scheme. So basically, the funding that has been committed by the 3 core members now has been matched by the Niti Aayog's Atal Innovation Mission, and the grant will help to set up the infrastructure, the prototyping spaces, and all the other support system for the outreach and events to really start looking at creating startups relevant and from the rural areas. And the industry and local society have also come on board in various ways, and we are just starting our CSR and fundraising campaign. This center will be operational, kick off in 3 months from now. The last stages of the government paperwork is being done. However, we have already initiated a year prior a lot of ecosystem building work. So when the funds come in, we are all set to support scalable startups in the region. We have built a wide ecosystem of experts and partners, as well as on-ground institutions, getting together mentors, experts, and academic partners who can support these entrepreneurs in their journey. We have met with over 2,000 local stakeholders, idea being to not just create awareness, but also create a momentum and buy-in for the activities of the center. We already have a pipeline of entrepreneurs, as well as, interestingly, local businessmen who wish to be angel investors, because these ideas are relevant to the local context. They understand the situation and can also see the possibility and wanting to fund and benefit from this. And the benefit is not just for personal reasons, but also for the area. So you can think of them as impact investors. A lot of identification of the problems so that we are tackling the right problems instead of going top down and saying, we know everything there is to know, and this is how the rural economy should work. We work with the stakeholders to identify the problems via design thinking workshops. And finally, what we are aiming, and this is the funnel that is being created, is to create a replicable funnel where we can partner with educational institutions to really prepare rural youth from the local institutions instead of them going to the cities. Some of them can become entrepreneurs, which create businesses, livelihoods that help the entire region. Our target is to create 550 social startups over the next 5 years and impact 5 lakh beneficiaries. And the last slide, Ambassador Kapur, is the impact. Finally, what we subscribe to is a vision given by Dr. Varghese Kurian, who really created, I would say he was probably the greatest and most successful social entrepreneur India has seen, creator of the Operation Flood and Amul, is India's place in the sun would come from the partnership between the wisdom of its rural people and the skill of its professionals. And that is what we're trying to bring together through the Center of Excellence model with the support of Wheels, Very, SOBUS, and all the other partners. So invite everyone to create a robust Bharat and really make India the Sone ki Chidiya which it was. And together we can do that. Thank you so much.
Ambassador Kapur, you are mute. You need to unmute.
I was saying thank you very much, Vijay. It's been a Digvijay. It's been a very inspiring model and a very aspirational model for a lot of others. We appreciate your participation in this webinar also, sitting in the US. What I will be asking you have taken it in a very smooth flow like a river from the earlier presentation. So scalability I have discussed. But what I'd be wanting you to address is also the measurement and the evaluation matrices and parameters for success and measurement of success later. So now we turn to our next speaker, who's Mr. Joss Brooks. Joss is the founder steward for the Pitchandikulam forest in Auroville, and he has been resident there for a long time. Originally from Tasmania in Australia, he has promoted and dedicated his life to the regeneration of indigenous plants and revival in the bioregion around Auroville, as well as in other parts of the state and country. The Pitchandikulam forest has become a living example of his dedicated and careful stewarding. He has also worked with establishing Adyar Punga, a large reforestation park in Chennai city, and creating other biodiversity interpretation centers in different parts of Tamil Nadu. I will be requesting Yagya to play a 2-minute video of the work done, and then we will request Joss to come in and present his intervention in less than 10 minutes so that we are back on time.
Pradeep, we will do the video after Josh talk as per his request. So we'll have Josh.
That is excellent. So Joss, may I then request you to please come in and start your discussion now. Thank you. Over to you, Joss.
Good evening, all. Greetings from Auroville. Here I am sitting in this 75-acre forest. It's the evening. And that's been my work for the last 50 years. I'm just really an old gardener. And I think we believe sincerely that harmony, sustainability, and prosperity, it emerges from that healthy environment. I think what I want to communicate is that we offer to help by creating EcoSchools and blue-green environment centers, which can help the community identify its problems and then address its problems to bring that garden back to, in our case, Tamil Nadu. And for us, it's always remembering the future garden, because we came here 50 years ago and it was clearly quite a wasted space. And we've learned some skills of how to bring back that garden of edible curative landscape that can bring prosperity with sustainable livelihoods in the rural sector. Next slide. Next. Oh, that one. Yeah. In the 70s, we learned this word transformation, how to transform this barren landscape into something that was more like a garden. This has now 800 species, this forest, and there's 200 species that are edible even for humans, whether it's root, leaf, etc., fruit. And this is what we bring to the equation, this seed bank. And what's important is seed. Without seed, we don't have a future. We would like to have seed banks in every school, in every 37 districts of Tamil Nadu. And that would be the basis for the revegetation of tank buns, of all the porambuks and the wasted lands of Tamil Nadu. The picture on the right, we are still planting trees. We have nurseries of thousands of seedlings to plant in the next months. And of course, all the friends came back, and we've got species that haven't been seen for some 200 years come into this forest. Our teaching, that is the glue to our work since 30, 40 years. As we learned our song, then we could sing it, and now it's to children, it's to policymakers, it's to work through workshops and programs. And this is the green part of Auroville. Of course, Auroville has many, many aspects, whether it's alternative technologies, etc., and teaching methods. But our work is the green work. Some 20 years ago, we took up a work with a school that had a pass rate of 10%, had 2 trees and 500 kids and no water and no toilets, the usual sort of disaster. And through building an environment center and creating a place where we could host all the schools of the region and train teachers in everything from medicinal plants to organic farming, and hands-on stuff and alternative technologies, water treatment systems in real rural Tamil Nadu, not just in the Auroville context. Recently, as you can see, 21, 22, we took another school nearby, and through planning with the kids, with the teachers, and then them implementing, because the school gave us an acre of land. And often schools are the places where there is some land, and transformed it, just in a year into something which is a teaching space. And this is something that we want scaled up to the entire Tamil Nadu. Why not make schools seed forests, where the seeds of all those different areas of Tamil Nadu can be grown and be the basis for 100-day scheme women's groups, or to then grow their nurseries of millions of seedlings. That is part of the policy of Tamil Nadu at the moment. Pasamai Tamil Nadu. Let's bring it from 28% green up to 33%. It can be done, but particularly through schools. In Chennai, we took on the work of transforming an urban wasteland, garbage and mess. We took out 60,000 tons of building rubble, etc., and transformed it into 300 acres of an urban wetland forest, which is also a teaching center now. 170 species, all absolutely indigenous. 200,000 plants. And that's used now as a training place, as a place for the schools and for up to policymakers, because it's an inspiration of these eco parks that are developing in other parts of Tamil Nadu. In Western Chennai, recently, we took on a transformation of another lake, desilting it, working with the local community, with the panchayat. And this was funded partly by TCL, and it's ongoing. Some of these pictures are from the last weeks, planting trees, planning, and this, again, a blue-green environment center is under construction. We see these centers as a place where the school kids can come, where the community relates, where they analyze their problems, where information centers are there of the water levels, the water quality, the air quality, the species, everything is there in this blue-green center. In southern Chennai, with after the floods, when 500 people were washed away and drowned in Chennai, then TCL and SIPCOT, we were involved with IIT Madras, the three of us, TCS, IIT and ourselves, desilted the pond and shaped it and planted it. You see how it's coming. These are several years ago. This is the space, is the site where we want to build the blue-green center there next to SIPCOT. And the plans are all ready, and we anticipate that we could partnership with Wheels on this. What does it mean, a blue-green center? It's not just a place where the kids come or the community come, but it's really a knowledge center. We're working in our village to create a knowledge center for that local community, that 6,000 people of that panchayat, to collect the information from the village. It goes back through the panchayat, through the village development committee to solve the problems. And that's all sorts of verticals of healthcare and livelihood, and transport and agriculture and the arts and crafts and business, as basically creating those rural business hubs that are needed. It's fine. Now the pass rate in our village school is 90%. It's not 10% anymore, but the parents are begging us to please create livelihoods, please create that rural business hub to keep the kids here in the village. So what do we do in a blue-green center? Yeah, it's to steward the land and the water bodies. It's work with the community to take responsibility of their environment, create those sustainable livelihoods, to help those eco-warriors to solve the problems of their area, that they understand their sense of place, and to train trainers, because it's not to scale up to the point where there are thousands of these green centers throughout Tamil Nadu within the next years. And this is our vision. To create places that you can talk about. If you've got examples, it's a lot easier to persuade people that it can be done. I hope these few images from the beginning of Auroville to now show that we know it can be done. And the students, can convert their schools into eco schools. And the future is really with, the children. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Josh Brooks.
And Yaksha can play the video now.
Yeah, thank you, Ratan.
To Tamil Nadu, the massive rainfall was the highest in 100 years, with 290 millimeters of rain falling in a single day. Over 400 people died, nearly 2 million were displaced, and losses amounted to over $3 billion. High-tech companies literally went under. There was a serious need to take stock of the situation and carry out remedial measures. Tata Consultancy Services, the Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, and Pitchandikulam Forest Consultants got together to do the needful towards a positive rejuvenation of the environment. The Siriseri watershed area, on which the SIPCOT campus is located, was identified as critical to the flooding of southern Chennai. a detailed hydrogeological survey of this area was carried out by IIT Madras. It came up with valuable recommendations to be implemented in the Siriseri watershed to prevent future floods and to improve water management in this region. This was to be executed in 2 phases. First, the encroachments would be removed and drainage channels cleared. Secondly, the storage capacity of the Siriseri twin lakes would be improved. IIT also recommended an eco park and a knowledge center in the area. This would help share the experiences and lessons learned from desilting and restoring the lakes and channel systems. Such a center would also enable demonstration of sustainable practices and would encourage an environmental planning conversation to happen between all the local stakeholders. Pitchandikulam Forest Consultants, or PFC, are an Auroville-based organization with 50 years experience in restoration ecology, environmental education, and community development. PFC first put together a plan for a community eco-knowledge park. A baseline biodiversity survey of flora and fauna was conducted over the catchment. The next step is to create the integrated community eco-knowledge center that will ensure community involvement in this ambitious project. It will also be a wonderful place for the residents of Siriseri, Tarambur, and the surrounding areas to visit and experience nature firsthand.
Awesome. Thank you. This was wonderful hearing from the speakers and wonderful seeing the slides and the work. Thanks, Jas, for your talk, and as well as an amazing video that just left us spellbound with the changes that have made. I think, Ambassador Kapur, if we want to ask a few questions, there are a few from the audience that I can definitely, I don't exactly know who they're addressing to, but there are certain audience, there's a definite question there. I think when Vibha was speaking, the question was, so it's great to know that these technologies work, but how does it work in the setting of the villages? I think that's sort of the gist of the question, is that how is the implementation by the villagers, and how is that juxtaposition? So Vibha, if you want to quickly answer that. You're on mute.
Yeah. It depends on the kind of technology, because if this brings you an economic empowerment and the social status, then people usually take the technology. But usually when it's kind of a changing the whole life standards, or you have to put in a lot of investment, then usually the people in the villages, especially the poor, withdraw. So you have to just take the technology, subsidize it, and let the first generation take it. Like we know about the toilet, that the first generation didn't take it. But as the number grew, it became a phenomenal success for us. So it depends on this kind of technology and also the need for it. Then when we started working for sanitation, people didn't want it. But in 4 or 5 years, things changed when children started going to school and they were exposed to the urban lifestyle. They wanted toilets. So it just depends on the technology that you want to take. Its replication and its expansion depends on the fact that how much good does it bring to individual, not the community. Thank you.
No, thanks. But there was other questions related to that same theme, that there's a evolution of these solutions that is happening. It's very hard for technology to be implemented right away. And these are good tools and technologies, but the implementation is a very different issue. And so I think there were questions about how do we get the enhancement of that?
We don't have a link agency. It's very important that we have link agencies between the lab and the Magan. And because they are lacking, and there's nothing that sustains it, because there's no takers, but even if they're takers, they're not followers. So the follow-up of these technologies is very important. So we need, so I was thinking that we global IEEE are basically becoming link agencies between the problem areas and the problem solution growth. And unless this happens, the technologies won't go to the people. So this very step of becoming a liaison between these two things, as we say, that between the Shastri and the mystery, the technologies and the artisans have to be linked together. So the step that we're just taking and IEEE is taking of setting up such conduits is what was needed, and we didn't really do it.
So there was a question also for Joss about financial sustainability of this ecosystem that you're developing. How do you see that happening in a long run? One is to formulate it, the other is to sustain it. So this is for Joss Brooks. Vibha, this is for Joss Brooks. Yeah. Sorry, Joss, please. How do you financially sustain what you're building?
To bring back that garden that is so important and gives so much possibilities for developing small industries, add value addition, food, good clean food. This is what we know that the rural center now, whether it's Pondicherry at this side or Chennai the other, we're on near to a main road. These are huge possibilities, but the alternative of the water still going saline or the water being bad is not an option. We need to bring back that garden, and through that, I think the industries and the prosperity will come, and more people will even decide to come back from the cities to the rural sector and bring that prosperity there. And this is the vision one has, and I think it's all over the world, whether it's the gardens in the cities or the gardens that have to be made in much more detail, again, in the rural sector. The rural sector has huge problems of pesticides, whatever, and that's where the education comes in. And this to bring clean food, clean water, whatever, there's money in that. There's a huge prosperity in that, and everybody's recognizing it. And I think that movement is going to be back from the cities. Auroville itself, because it's almost like designing how to live in rural India, but at a really sort of high-tech level, Auroville itself. And that's interesting. And if we can concentrate on the right building technologies, which we've got, with the right food technologies, with the new food technologies, we're growing spirulina, we're starting to eat insects, we're trying to, all this sort of thing is the future. And the future is that. Yeah, the climate change is going to bring such extraordinary that we cannot go on with ordinary agriculture as it is. Yeah, and that's going to bring a new prosperity of sustainability. It can be sustainable. This is not sustainable at the moment.
And Smita, if I can just add quickly, there are two other elements of how this innovative solution will be scalable. Number one, there are already lots of resources from state governments and central governments towards sustainability, towards EcoSchool, bringing that education and awareness at the school level. So that will be one element. Also, we are partnering with the Rotary, both in Chennai, as well as the hope is that Rotary organization being nationwide, that will be another key leverage for us to make it sustainable. And also, as Josh said, there are many elements which create value from the activity, from the model itself in terms of revenue streams. So there are multiple ways we are looking at this to be very sustainable, but I think Josh highlighted the alternative is simply not acceptable.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, this is the key that we want to bring out to the audience here, that Wheels does not take up projects that are not scalable and not sustainable in the long run. So the thought has been given to each of these on how they can sustain. And Digvijay, if you want to shed any light on your long-term sustainability of the social entrepreneurship model.
No, we are trying to be as close to the well-accepted ways of scaling startups and enabling them with those resources, and closing the gap between where they are to where they should be to be able to access those funds. Because trying to educate a whole lot of people on a new model does take time, and sometimes the rate of problem creation, I would say, is much faster than the rate of solutioning that is happening. So we need to take existing models and be able to tweak them. So we are staying close to the conventional approach of startups, but going to the right investors and experts who have both an impact as well as a profit element in mind. So through SOBUS, mainly that's the approach we are taking. But just to Dr. Josh Brooks, that it's fantastic work, and we are actually, since you are at Auroville, we have created, one of our startups is working on creating aspirational residential community like Auroville, but which can scale up as a business. So that's just something interesting I would like to talk to you about separately.
So I do want to bring out this very point that we are watching as we speak, that not only that Wheels is working on ideas with existing proven entities on the ground, just like with Dr. Brooks, with Dr. Vibha Gupta, with SOBUS, and that proven entities that can take things forward with us and how to scale it. And we are bringing other factors along with other parties, let's just say, not factors, like IEEE has now taken this with Wheels along with the MSS's effort to showcase in other parts of India, like Auroville, and so on and so on. And similarly, same thing with Dr. Brooks' experiment in Auroville, and you're just looking at the interaction between Digvijay Choudhary and Josh Brooks, and he already saw the combination of starting enterprise there, which can also be done in that. So these kind of things that spawn a lot more. Go ahead, Digvijay. I just wanted to make sure that people understand that one little light can lamp many lamps.
I wanted to add to what you said. It's a very powerful thing, because the IITN network is so successful and spread all over the world. Right now, I'm in the United States to put together an impact fund which can take such ideas forward. And I found that the Wheels network has been phenomenal in terms of making the right connections, including yourself. I met you a few days back, so it was very amazing. I think that can really become a force multiplier for such projects.
And so we are hoping that all the participants on this in this webinar can take that with us and join us in this force. And that is the intent, more than this is just a flavor of all the work that is being done. Very hard to summarize all this in our webinar of 1 hour, the enormous amount of work that everybody's doing. So in fact, we apologize for trying to accelerate the people who are working in such depth, but did want to give our audience the flavor of where we are as Wheels in at least just one track that we are just showing you. And there are many tracks like that in Wheels that we've had constant webinars to showcase. And our hope is that we can multiply this along with all of you together with us and take this many steps forward. And hopefully some of you will join us in the conference in Banaras as well. We are in Varanasi, sorry. And it's again, 11, 12, 13. So unless there's a burning question that we,
I just
and
have
I'd
one,
like
one,
Ambassador
observ
to conclude.
one
Sorry,
observation, Smita, also, I think for the audience. Hopefully they heard the 3 wonderful initiatives today. And all the Wheels initiatives, they have been chosen because they provide us a runway to touch millions of people. And that is where we are trying to go as an organization to impact 20% of India's rural and semi-urban population by 2030. So we are looking forward everybody to engage. There are multiple ways people can engage. They can join us as a volunteer. They can bring innovation. They can refer new initiative NGOs who are doing promising work. And of course, they can contribute their time and their funds. We need all of that. Thank you.
So sorry that we did not introduce Ratan Agrawal, who has been participating with us. Ratan is a gift to Wheels. He comes from IIT Bombay, of course, lives in New Jersey, and is with his successful career and exits and other companies he created. He has now formulated a company called Carbon Neutral. Is that what it's called?
Carbon Group Global, yes.
Carbon Group, that's funding a lot of new companies related to the environmental and zero pollution and many other goals. But most importantly, Ratan is the vice president of Wheels and has taken that responsibility, and thank you for that. So Ambassador Kapur, if you would like to conclude.
Sure. Thank you so much, Smita. And thanks to all the 3 speakers who have made such phenomenal, seminal contributions to society and to the community, and particularly in the rural areas. So there's a lot of learning out there. And for Dr. Josh Brooks, particularly, I wanted to mention that if you are not registered for the conference in November, because the other 2 are, I know, you should also join us there in Varanasi. And the other thing which I want to say is Ramnath Mani from IIT again is actively involved in this blue-green project along with Rotary to sponsor and support it. Dr. Jayanti Ravi, incidentally, who's secretary of the Auroville Foundation, she was the inspiration behind this Auroville project, where we started working with her when she was principal secretary in the government of Gujarat. Now she is in Auroville in Puducherry. So she is a very great supporter of Wheels, and I am sure you are already in touch with her, but we can have a joint meeting if required. There are other people in Chennai and Puducherry who are also from the corporate sector who can support your efforts significantly, I'm sure, which we can connect you to. And the other question which was not answered, which I don't know whether we need an answer, but Dr. Brooks, will this only be in Tamil Nadu, or is there bandwidth to expand to other locations? So that is something which needs to be sort of discussed at another time, another day. But now I would say thanks to all the remarkable contributors and speakers on this panel and the entire team of volunteers and collaborators who worked very hard to make this webinar happen. A link to our event today and the recording will of course be available on our website, wheelsglobal.org. We encourage all of you to visit our Getting Involved page, where you can be involved in many ways. And you can recommend new innovations and projects and worthy NGOs, volunteering, advising, internships, helping with CSR funds and corporate giving campaigns. And of course, your generous donations to help us scale. Finally, thanks to all the attendees, and we hope you will join us for the next webinar, which will be announced very soon. Stay safe, keep well, enjoy the rest of the week, and we will again run the slide presentation, which was there at the beginning of the webinar, so that those who missed that presentation can continue looking at it. And thank you once again to everybody. Namaste. Have a great weekend, rest of weekend.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
What, Vibha?
Wishing you all a very happy Deepavali.
Yes,
Indeed, indeed.
all a happy Diwali.
Diwali season is,
Thank you.
Yes.
Diwali season is going to be on us very soon, so enjoy and celebrate.
Yeah.
And
Give
there was a
balm to
request.
everybody.
Vibha, there was a request from Ron Mehta to connect with the Win Foundation. I will send you an email.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you for participating and giving your time, precious time to us. Hopefully you'll all join us in this crusade that we have started a big movement of taking technology for rural transformation. So thank you again. Bye-bye. Namaste.
Thank you.